Alton Sterling is just the latest American to be killed by police under extremely questionable circumstances. Many people would watch the video that you're going to see very soon and say murdered by police under questionable circumstances. It happened in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and thankfully, as has become more common, now multiple witnesses captured the incident on cell phone video. Before we roll that for you, I do want to give you the basics of what you're going to see in this video. So Baton Rouge police officers Blaine Salamone and Howie Lake responded to a call at a convenience store. That's the Triple S Food Mart. This is around 12:35 a.m. on Tuesday after receiving an anonymous tip that a man in a red shirt who was selling CDs had pointed a gun at someone. In the video, you're going to see officers yelling at Sterling to get on the ground. The officers then pulled him to the ground, pinning him on his back. An officer yells, he's got a gun. The video shows an officer holding down his left arm, but his right arm isn't visible, at least in this first video. Then the officer aims his gun at Sterling's chest. Within seconds, at least one officer opened fire. Sterling was pronounced dead shortly after. So, just a warning, this video is extremely graphic. It shows a man being killed by police officers, and here is that first video.
Oh shit! They shot him? Oh my fucking goodness!
They killed this boy.
Oh.
Okay, so predictably, his arrest record from the 1990s have come out now. So that's usually what the cops leak right after they kill someone. And now, it is not clear, because this just happened very recently, from all the reporting that I've seen, whether he actually had a gun and whether he was actually the guy that the police were looking for in the first place with the red shirt and selling CDs. He's got a red shirt on, did have CDs, could obviously be that guy. I don't know. And I'll go further and say, look, cops are a dangerous thing to mess around with, especially our cops here in America who are trained to shoot you immediately. If you sneeze at them the wrong way, they'll shoot you. So whatever it is, I know it's incredibly frustrating. Just put your hands behind your back immediately. And sometimes you get shot in the back anyway. That's happened in Charleston.
We've had a couple of instances.
Yeah, Laquan McDonald got shot in the back. But what, you got a weapon, announce it, put it down, put your hands behind your back. Okay, so we don't know for a fact that he had a gun. I guess I would be surprised if he didn't, although oftentimes they think it's a gun and it's not a gun. And sometimes they think it's a gun and it's a toy gun. So we've seen all of these fact patterns. So that part of this case is not settled yet. The part that appears settled from the video, and we've got another video that shows it a little bit better and is even more graphic, so I give you a warning on that as well, is whether they got him pinned down enough. And to the naked eye, it appears they've got him really, really pinned down.
He seems pretty pinned.
It doesn't appear that the cops are in danger. It appears he's in danger. But the cops view everything as, danger, man. I'm not going to take a 1% chance with anything.
Yeah.
So now let's take a look at that second video. Again, warning that it's even more graphic, but it hopefully in an effort to figure out what really happened here. And then I want to come back and talk about the training, which is, again, at the very heart of this problem. All right, let's watch.
Hey, bro, you fucking move, I swear to God. Hey, bro. Get on the ground! Careful, man. You see me getting shot fire. Fuck!
So a couple of issues there. One, you see the three guys got him pinned down, and then they say he's got a gun. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt for now, okay, and assume he had something they thought was a gun. I don't think they shoot him for no reason if they didn't think he had something that might be a gun, okay? You hear the first round of shots, and then the camera flips, and then you hear another round of shots. So I know they teach you to kill, but that's part of the problem with the training. So one of the things, I just heard this recently from someone, sorry I forgot who it was, but they were talking to a cop says, my job's to get home. make sure I get home safe, right? No, that's not your job.
Yeah.
No, your job is to protect and to serve. Like, we would like you, we desperately want you to get home safe. We know you got families. We know you got to protect yourself, right? But that's not your job. If you think your job is, all I got to do is get home safe, well, then it's not surprising that you shoot everyone in your path. So the training is, okay, make sure if you perceive any threat, you put it down, because you don't take any chances with you because you're the most precious thing on earth.
Yeah.
No, but it's not the job. Cops are supposed to have a hard job because they put their lives on the line. So we respect that, but if you say, I'm not going to put my life on the line, and if somebody looks at me wrong, I can perceive any kind of danger.
Yeah.
In another story in today's show, one of the cops tackled a guy outside a hotel, or a bunch of cops tackled him. They thought he was a terrorist. Instead, he was a tourist. Anyway, and the guy
They
said,
sound similar.
yeah, and the guy, after he was proven to be innocent, was like, why did you do that to me after the incident's already over? And the cop says, well, I tore my fingernail. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You didn't get home safe. No, so we're
Their job is
training
to
them
get-
wrong.
Their
We're
job is to
training
get
them
home
wrong.
safe and not need a manicure.
Yes. So, no. Do not shoot first, ask questions later. That's the job of a criminal, not a cop.
There seems to be a lot of people who get through all of the training to become a cop and then are shocked to find out that the job can be dangerous. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, they warn you if you're sitting in the area of a plane where the door is. They ask you very clearly, are you ready for the responsibility to sit in this aisle? It doesn't seem like police going in, some of them understand that you are putting yourself at more risk. That is not something to be avoided at all costs. That is an inherent part of the job. Can you imagine if soldiers going to Iraq said, most important thing is that I get home safe, doesn't matter what happens to the other people around me? No, you are putting yourself in a position that is more dangerous. In terms of what we just saw, those videos, and you see the two incidents, from what people who knew the victim have said, it seems like he did routinely carry a gun, which is apparently because, as we're going to go through his criminal record, he's not legally allowed to do. And so it is, I'm going to say, more likely that he had a gun on him than that he didn't have a gun. But you have to look at that situation and say, which is more likely? That police, who routinely shoot hundreds of people per year that they didn't need to shoot, were spooked unnecessarily and executed a man, or that a guy who was being held down by two cops, who could see a pistol pointed at his chest, decided, I'm going for it. I'm reaching for my gun. Who the fuck thinks that that's something a person would actually do? That, yeah, I think that as I'm being held down by two people, I can probably get my gun out and kill both these cops before they kill me. Because he was standing there selling CDs. Nobody reasonable, nobody rational thinks this guy was like, I'm probably going to try to kill two cops tonight. Doesn't matter if they have a gun to my chest. That's insanity.
So, look, I'm going to go further. Cops keep saying, we have a dangerous job. But again, no, you don't. If you shoot everyone in your path, then it's not that dangerous. It's, in fact, I know that to be a reality because we did a story on it earlier. I think it's like the 21st most dangerous job in America. Like, gardeners
After
have more
loggers,
dangerous jobs.
I believe waitresses.
So these are literal, by the way. I mean, you can look up the list yourself. So cops last year, oh my God, we're under siege, Black Lives Matter, protest us. Yeah, protest is not a weapon. That's your constitutional rights. And in fact, last year was the safest year on record for cops.
Yeah, for like 30 years.
So I don't want the cops to get hurt. I know they got families. And it's heartbreaking when you hear those stories. But what is happening much more often now is not cops getting hurt, it's cops doing the hurting.
Yeah.
So now people will say, no, there's no racial component. A black teen is 21 times more likely to get shot by a cop than a white teen. There's no racial component? Really? There's no racial component. Now, the only reason you'd say that is because you feel guilty. You feel like, wait, are you saying I'm a racist? I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a subconscious bias. It's affecting a lot of us, and apparently it's affecting society overall, and it's leading to black kids getting shot at 21 times the rate that white kids are. So that's a fact. If you don't like that fact, there's something wrong with you, right? I want to change that fact. I want to make sure that we're all treated equally, so that when a cop comes up to a black person, he doesn't when he comes up to a white person and if he sees a gun, he's like, oh, good card-carrying NRA member there, Second Amendment. Way to go, big guy, right? A black guy, he sees him, pin him down, make sure you shoot him in the chest within about 2 inches of his chest, because it's, oh, the black guy with a gun, black guy with a gun. White guy, constitutional rights. Black guy, dangerous, gotta put him down. And then all of a sudden, 21 times more likely to get shot. And then you go, oh, no, there's no racial component. No, you're being purposely blind to it because you don't like it, because you think, oh, I'm causing that.
Yeah.
And nobody's charging you with that. If you're raising your hand and saying, it wasn't me, it makes me think, why? Was it you?
If you believe that there's no racial component to how the police perceive threat, you probably also believe that the Star of David and a Sheriff's Star are pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Like you want to believe that these things don't exist because you don't want to accept that you, like some of these cops, view things through a racial lens.
Yeah, and look, there's 1,000 studies on this. They put cops in a simulator.
Yes.
It was like a video game. And then they showed, the cops don't know why they're doing this. They think it's just a training exercise, right? They show white people in the video game and they show black people in the video game. Guess who they shoot more? Black people.
Yeah.
Same exact
And quicker.
situation. What's that?
And quicker.
Yeah.
They make the decision to shoot quicker. It's not hypothetical. It's literally they were timed and how quickly they make the decision to shoot. And when it's a black person, they make the decision more quickly.
For example, Tamir Rice, 2 seconds. For example, this guy, pinned down, and I don't think he's a Second Amendment guy. I think I got to shoot him right here and kill him right away. So, and then you wonder why African Americans are concerned. Like, you know why? Because they're concerned for their lives. Yeah. So I get that, and I want to help them. I don't understand people who look at it and go, no, they're the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if that was your kid or that was your dad or that was somebody you knew, a friend of yours, wouldn't you have wanted the cops to pause just a little bit and say, hey, maybe if it is a weapon, we can get that weapon away from him because there are many of us here and we're all on top of him and he's pinned down and I have a weapon pointed to his chest. Yeah. It seems like we're not in mortal threat yet. If I see that he's got the gun, I've got my gun right here at his chest, then I could pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I would want if it was my family member or friend for a little pause, but the cops are not taught to pause. Kill, 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 kill. Who cares? It's not you, it's them.
Yeah. And the final piece of information about this portion of it is that the shop owner of the shop that he was killed outside of, Abdullah Mulfahi, told the advocate that the officers were aggressive from the start and that Sterling was armed but was not holding his gun and didn't have his hand near his pocket at the time of the shooting. So, look, my final point on this is that it's actually twofold. One is that the standard for if a cop should do shooting is if it's objectively reasonable belief that there's a threat. But if we train them to think that everything is an objectively reasonable threat, so that's why I'm not even blaming the individuals. I keep blaming the training because that is the root of the problem. The culture of the police in America is the root of the problem. We tell them everything's a threat, especially if it's black, and so make sure you shoot if anything is a threat. And then they say, well, that was objectively what I was taught. I was taught if there's anything remotely a threat, I put it down, I murder it, I kill it, and I go home safe. I didn't take any chances with my life, and that's why I have an incredibly safe job. And this isn't the only way to do it. Other countries don't have this rate of civilians being killed by the police because they don't train their police that every second they're on the streets, they're about to be killed. And then finally, as to another culprit here is the cops are almost never prosecuted. So it is half the rate of a regular citizen where in terms of cases being brought against them and then getting convictions where they go to prison. So in only 10% of the shootings do they ever go to prison. So 90% of the time, they get away with it. And so, and maybe some of that time, of course, it was a legitimate shooting, a justified shooting. So I'm not saying they're 100% guilty all the time. Of course not. You look at it case by case, see what the situation is. But they disproportionately are unpunished. So that tells them, oh, don't worry, there's no consequences. I told you everything's a threat. I told you you should kill it so you can go home safe. And I told you that you'll get away with it. Yeah. Now, when you set up that situation, no one should be surprised that our cops disproportionately kill our citizens more than other countries do, and disproportionately kill our minorities more than other folks. That shouldn't be a surprise, and that's exactly what we have here. Yeah. So I would suggest that the cops don't investigate themselves. Like, wow, what a revolutionary thought.
And people will object. No, no, no. Now, if you said to me, John is being tried on a case and you're going to be the person investigating it, I know John. I like John. I'd lean towards John. Even if I didn't want to, I'd be like, let me find all the evidence that's on John's side.
And imagine if we met on a plane in Phoenix. Suspicious.
Okay, referring to Clinton and Lynch, of course. So now, if a cop is involved in a shooting, why don't we have the federal government look into it, the FBI look into it? Oh, that'll cost money. It costs money to do it at the local level, but if you just have it at the federal level, what it does is at least it removes the obvious, glaring conflict of interest. So the FBI does many things. There's no reason why it can't do that. You look into it, and at least you have it removed so that you get a fair hearing for the victims. And so
most of the time, you don't even get a fair hearing at the federal level.
Yeah, and look, it's not like that's
convict.
going to magically solve it, right? My guess is the FBI guys are going to lean towards the cops too, but at least they're not buddies with them. They're not friends with them. They don't have to work with them the very next day.
That's true.
You don't have, and you remove the entire case to the federal system because the prosecutors also worked with the cops every single day at the local level.
Yeah.
So they're not likely to prosecute their friends and the guy they got to work with and have a cordial business and career relationship with the very next day. The judges know the cops. They testify there in front of them. So remove it to the federal level where the investigators, the prosecutors, and the judges do not know those cops. You might get justice in some of the cases, and the next time somebody thinks, who cares? I'm not going to take any risks. Why don't I just kill this guy? I know that they're not thinking it flippantly like that in a conscious way. They're making that decision in a second, but that is rolling through their heads. That there's going to be no consequences.
Yeah.
Maybe they pause for that second and go, ooh, maybe I'll wind up in jail. Wow, that sounds crazy. You know what? Let me see if I can get that gun out of his waistband or whatever, because we've got him pinned down. I don't want to go to jail for 20 years. Now they think, who cares?
It's impossible to imagine.
I know I'm going to get away with it. Why would I take 1% chance? It's a black guy under me. Just shoot him and be done with it.